All right, welcome back as we pay tribute to the many servicemen and women who gave and paid the ultimate sacrifice for our freedoms. We're also highlighting the efforts of one organization that helps support service members and their pets. Very important part of the family. We're joining us now to discuss is the co-founder of Paws of War, which is the organization Robert Misseri. We're also joined by Staff Sergeant David Jones. Good to see both of you here. Thanks so much for coming on. Staff Sergeant, thank you so much for your service, sir. I appreciate you coming on. I'll get to you in just a minute because I want to hear from you. But I also want to talk to Robert. First of all, if this is the first time for viewers that are watching right now, they hear this term Paws of War. What is it?
Shaun, we help our active military who are deployed anywhere in the world, mostly in the Middle East, bring back a stray animal that they find, usually a cat or a dog. Most of the time it's a dog, that their empathy and compassion, they cannot turn their back on an injured animal or a starving animal. So they find that animal, they rescue that animal, and then they call on Paws of War when their deployment is coming to an end, not to have to leave that animal behind to go back to starving and in a cruel environment. And we get them back here and we reunite them with our service members, all for free to our service members.
It's a story that you really don't hear enough of, and you forget that these men and women are overseas and they're still doing the right thing of adopting these pets that do need a home. I mean, talk about going the extra mile to do something good. One of the people that has done that, Staff Sergeant David Jones, if I understand that correctly, Staff Sergeant, did you adopt a pet overseas? Tell me your story.
Yes, so I was working in a camp in Syria, doing support for our special operations troops, and I was made aware of a dog that was kind of a stray on our camp. I found him in a little, there he is, then went and found him in a little shelter area, just started feeding him. We became friends, kind of bonded, and then pretty soon every evening when I got off work, he was there waiting for me. Every morning when I got up, he was there waiting for me. And so I made the decision that, you know, it was time for me to have a dog again, and I was fortunate enough that I had a couple of airmen that had worked with Robert before, and they gave me his name and contact information, what his organization did, and I reached out to him. Robert put me in contact with a local representative. I was fortunate enough that the command was able to let me move the dog out of Syria over to Jordan, where he got vet care. He got stitched up, he had a wound, and then he was sent home. He actually beat me home by about 2.5 months.
Is that dog still with you today, sir?
He is. He's laying right here doing what he does best, napping.
Well, your dog and I share that in common. I'm really good at around 12 for a good nap. And the name of the dog's Ruckman, is that right?
It's Rukban.
Rukban.
One of the Special Forces medics actually said, hey, because I was having trouble coming up with a name for him, and he's like, why don't you just name him after the refugee camp there, Rukban? And I said, that's perfect. So we named him Rukban. And I have to explain that story every time, but you know, I'm just glad he was able to get out. He had a rough life before we met him. A lot of danger in that area when it comes to dogs. Yeah. And you know, we were both very fortunate to find each other, I think.
Listen, I love that story. I love that story of you and Rukban, and it's great. And unfortunately, there are so many animals out there that do need our help and that have went through some hard times, like Rukban did. Robert, really quickly, tell me about this Paws of War. How can folks help out with the efforts of this organization? Maybe this touched the hearts of a few that are watching, and they want to help. Can they?
They can. Shaun, we have an unprecedented amount of pleas from overseas, from military members that are asking us to help them get these animals here to safety so they can reunite with them. Many of them have been found very sadly injured, starving. So any support, we greatly appreciate any corporate sponsors who want to sponsor a particular dog, but we definitely need help.
All right, and you can do so online there. What a great story, and one that you may not hear that often. Robert Misseri, thank you so much. Staff Sergeant David Jones, thank you for your service, and we appreciate that.
Thank you, Shaun. Thank you, Sergeant.
Hey, I'm Rob Finnerty. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please join the conversation in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe, too. Hit the bell icon to be alerted to breaking news. And remember, there's a whole lot more on Newsmax TV, America's fastest growing cable news network. Newsmax TV, we're real news for real people.